During the last 5 years, the San Francisco Bay Area has dominated the top spot for apartment rent growth across the country, but not anymore. Welcome to Apartment Market Dynamics from MPF Research. I'm Jay Parsons, and joining me is Greg Willett. And Greg, we've talked a lot about the San Francisco Bay Area dominating that leaderboard for a long time, but it's not the case as of Q1 2015. So today we're talking about the top markets for rent growth in the year ending Q1 2015. What market is now on top?
That's the Denver-Boulder area, and that really won't be a shock for folks who have been watching this video series. Really every quarter for the last 2-3 years, Denver has come in just a hair underneath the Bay Area for annual rent growth. This quarter it moves a hair above the three metros in the Bay Area. So annual change in effective rents for Denver-Boulder as of Q1 2015 is 10.5%. That is just ahead of the 10.2% growth rates in both Oakland and San Francisco. Then in San Jose, the increase is at 9.3%. Jay, as we've talked about Denver before, what we've really highlighted is that impressive story for top-tier product, and that really continues. Surprising for a metro that has such an active construction level. So looking at Class A properties that have been in operation for at least a full year, we see rent growth of 9.3% in that segment. Certainly the Bay Area metros are getting that similar sort of rent growth at the top tier, but it's more impressive for Denver because they are adding so much new supply.
And we're about to see even more supply hit there next year, right?
Yeah, we really are. And as we look at what's happening in 2015, we have scheduled completions that go up 46% from 2014 level. And so we do think that, in fact, that's going to put some pressure on rent growth in the top tier. I mean, still strong in Denver, but probably not at the level we've seen now. And so really we think that it's time on top of this leaderboard is really just going to be a couple quarters maybe.
So let's continue the leaderboard. So after Denver and the three Bay Area metros, in the number 5 through 7 spot, we have 3 markets with rent growth north of 7%. They are Portland at 7.9%, Atlanta 7.5%, and West Palm Beach 7.2%. Now all of these are pretty interesting stories. Atlanta, obviously your late recovery market, playing out actually much better than expected at this point in the cycle, and really surprisingly very little supply relative to what you probably expect to see at this point, which is why partly why rents are growing at the fastest rate we've ever seen in Atlanta, and particularly little supply in some of the key suburban areas, which are really driving up those rent growth numbers, although eventually we see this one going to be catching up, supply catching up, and rents come back to reality. Another really interesting story to watch is the one in Portland, and this is one like Denver. We're going to see completions jump meaningfully in 2015, 52% more new units completing in 15 versus 14, and partly because construction activity is so spread across the Portland area, it's not very concentrated in any one spot. We don't think it's going to meaningfully bring down rent growth, but we do think that rent growth is probably going to top out around 7%, if even that.
Let's move on through the list and complete this top 10. We have 3 metros with annual rent growth between 6 and 7%. Those are Sacramento at 6.7%, Fort Worth at 6.4%, and Los Angeles at 6.2%. Let's highlight Fort Worth as the story here. Certainly we've got strong rent growth all across the Texas markets, and that does include Houston, despite what's happening in the energy sector with rent growth coming in about 5% in the Houston market. But best in Texas right now is Fort Worth, and really what sets this apart from the other places across the state is a fairly restrained construction volume. So you don't quite have that level of competition at the very top end in Cowtown.
You had to slip in a Cowtown reference in there.
Why shouldn't I talk about Cowtown?
Why not? And look at the metros that just missed the top 10 leaderboard. We have 3 metros that hit 5.7% year-on-year rent growth for new leases: Las Vegas, Nashville, and San Diego, and 2 more at 5.3%, those being Fort Lauderdale and the Seattle-Tacoma area. And within that group, the obviously interesting one is Las Vegas, one that obviously saw that prolonged beat down the recession in the early parts of the recovery. But really the last bad number we saw in terms of rent growth came in Q1 of 2014, and we drop off that bad quarter-over-quarter performance as we move into Q1 2015. So we now have 4 straight quarters without that bad performance in the annual calculation, and that's really made all the difference. And supporting that rent growth momentum in Las Vegas, the Metro is now seeing some really solid job growth. It's attracting millennials at a pretty impressive rate, certainly better than you might think, and apartment occupancy is now at pretty healthy levels, especially in the top tier and the middle market stock as well.
One more story that I think is interesting within that group is what's happening in Seattle. And again, strong overall rent growth. It's not a number to complain about, but this is the first quarter in several years that, in fact, Seattle has not been a top 10 performer. And what we're seeing there, as we add more new product, particularly in the urban core, we are starting to see top-end rents flatten out a little bit. So it will be interesting to see what's happening in that one as we move ahead. Can it sustain rent at that 5% or so?
Really a lot of interesting Metro-level stories to discuss. We'll be doing those as we go forward with this quarter. But until then, let's wrap it up. So for Greg Willett, I'm Jay Parsons. Thank you for watching Apart Market Dynamics from NPF Research.
Want more? Go deeper with NPF Research's apartment market reports. From a national level, down to individual metros, to specific neighborhoods, NPF Research has been providing unparalleled apartment market intelligence to the multifamily industry for almost 5 decades. Learn more by contacting us at 877-284-4938 or visit www.npfresearch.com and click on Market Reports.